Well, hello again. I'm Randy Cross, and this is Unsafe Spaces. We've got a little fun podcast for you this week. A little bit of everything. Got the usual ambulance. Got a little unsafe sports. Got some feel-good action going on. And our guest this week, in honor of the draft, is a former NFL and college football quarterback. It's Aaron Murray from the University of Georgia, currently working now in the commercial real estate business in the Atlanta area, but Aaron retired as the number one passer in SEC history and spent some time in the NFL. Very familiar with the process. Can't wait to get his thoughts about the draft coming up. And speaking of that whole process, that leads me right into my commentary for the week. The NFL draft's coming up. It'll be tonight, Friday, Saturday. It's going to be a heck of a process. You look at the whole event in Dallas, and we'll get into that later. It's going to be crazy. People say, will Jerry Jones try to make a splash? Does a frog have a watertight ass? Yeah, he's going to make a bit of a splash. But when you talk about the draft, the number one position year in and year out, you have to at least discuss, it's the quarterback position. And everyone's got their top five as far as the top five quarterbacks and how you rank them. And I'm no different. So let's start at number one, my top quarterback in this draft. To me, the best quarterback in this draft is Lamar Jackson out of Louisville. I love actually his combination of the legs and the arm. Are there flaws? Yes, there's flaws. That's what coaches are for. That's what the right system. If he's lucky, like all these quarterbacks, he'll get in that system and be used properly. But this guy, to me, has the best upside, the highest ceiling when it comes to his combination of physical abilities, running, passing, the whole package, and how much this kid just flat loves football. My second ranked player at the quarterback position is the shortest one in the field. He's 6 feet tall. He's the defending Heisman Trophy winner. Baker Mayfield out of Oklahoma is just a flat winner. You have to almost get rid of some of the metrics you use when you're discussing players like this. Now, if you're drafting a Baker Mayfield, you know what you're hoping against. You don't want to get the next Johnny Manziel because this kid does have some tendencies away from football to get a bit distracted. Will it hurt him? We don't know. You're hoping against hope. You're not drafting the next Manziel, that you're drafting the next Breeze or Russell Wilson, the 6-footish quarterback that can win in this league. Number three on this list of quarterbacks is I think pretty easy to figure out. Sam Darnold from USC is really good. He throws the ball extremely well. He's a good leader. He has gone through some struggles already because if you think back to 2016, he finished that season so well with USC, winning that Rose Bowl game. People had some tape on him. They adjusted on him last year. So at times he struggled. Welcome to being a pro. That's what it's going to be like every week, every year. When you're in the NFL, they make constant adjustments to what you do. That's what Sam Darnold went through, but I think he is a really good talent at quarterback. Number four on my list is from my alma mater, across town from USC, UCLA's Josh Rosen. People talk about him being privileged. They talk about him being, everything having to do not with football. You've actually heard the term too smart for football. That's never been an issue. There's been a little issue on the other end of the scale in football at a lot of positions. But no, this kid is not too smart for football because there's always somebody smarter out there that works on the other side of the ball. Guaranteed. Josh Rosen, the number one knock I have against this guy has got nothing to do with his privileged status. It's got everything to do with the fact that for the last 3 years, Jim Mora, the head coach at UCLA, got the crap beat out of this kid. He's had concussions, he's had injuries, and how much has that affected him and the product going forward And how many miles have kind of been used up in that getting the crap beat out of them stage? Because the beatings in the pros are a lot worse than the beatings that are going to be coming that were at college football. College football is nothing physicality-wise compared to the NFL. That's no newsflash. And the number 5 quarterback on my list is Josh Allen out of Wyoming. Big, 6'5", 230. Has got a cannon. This kid can throw it. He's like Sam Darnold. He's never met a window in a defense he doesn't think he can't fit a ball into. Okay? Well, are there negatives? Yeah. At times at Wyoming, kind of like Lamar Jackson at times, he looked like he was playing 1 on 11. Did he make mistakes? Yes. Does he have flaws? Yes. Like I said, he has to go to the right system, like all quarterbacks. He needs the coaching, the fundamentals, just the techniques and the tools to hone his craft. But this kid has got what it takes to be a really good quarterback. Now let's turn this thing on its ear a little bit, because I'm not so much talking about just the quarterbacks. I think the top 5 players in the draft, to me, aren't quarterbacks. That's just football players. So let's go down that list. And we're going to start with, well, I guess an unusual place, an offensive lineman. And am I biased? Hell yeah, I'm biased. But ask a lot of people around this draft and around the NFL what they think of Quentin Nelson, the offensive guard from Notre Dame. He's got every box checked, and he can flat play, and he is nasty. That, to me, he is the best player in this draft. Number 2 in this draft, with just as many boxes checked, but he's playing a position where guys break down pretty fast, is Saquon Barkley, the running back from Penn State. I would not hesitate a second to take this kid, because there are no guarantees in health in the NFL. But if this guy lasts 5 years, and odds would say because of the way he's played at times, he's going to last for 5 years, you're getting a star. You're getting a day 1 star at running back that has the ability to bust to the end zone every time he touches the ball. I just love this kid. Next up, defensive end, outside linebacker out of North Carolina State, Bradley Chubb. Great on the edge, good against the run, just good. I'm not going to say he's great. That's the first place people are going to challenge this guy, is if you line him up, they're going to go after him. And we'll see how he adjusts on that. But I love what he can do on the outside, and he is a quarterback-seeking machine. I like the way this kid plays defensive end. Number 4 on this list, another defensive player. I think the best down lineman on the defensive side in this draft, Vita Vea. Defensive tackle, 6'4", about 345, 350, nimble, moves. Think there's some analogies out there. Haloti Ngata, guys like that. He is an abnormal athlete for his size. And when you see him play, you'll know why I'm so excited about Vita Vea. And the number 5 overall football player on my list is an undersized linebacker out of the University of Georgia, Roquan Smith. Just exploded during the college football playoffs last year, the SEC championship game. Sideline to sideline, there's no linebacker in this draft that can touch this kid. He's basically a safety-size player, a decent-sized safety that plays linebacker. So are you going to have to be able to protect him inside? Yeah. But all great linebackers have to be protected to be able to be the guys they really can be. And this guy can run sideline to sideline better than anybody in this draft. A lot of them play offense. He runs better sideline to sideline than. I love Roquan Smith. So that's my list of quarterbacks. That's my list of football players. Guaranteed, though, and I mean guaranteed, there's going to be a quarterback, a Riley Ferguson, for instance. There's a list as long as your arm of guys that aren't supposedly that good. aren't good enough to be mentioned in the day one, day two kind of draft, that when this is all said and done, they'll have better careers than almost the top 10 combined, the way their careers end up. You're looking to see that. All right. Speaking of quarterbacks, speaking of the draft, our guest is coming up here. We're going to be talking to Aaron Murray, former UGA quarterback, played some in the NFL, the all-time career SEC passing leader. And this guy knows himself some quarterbacks. We'll talk to him right after this. All right, now, as promised, joined by Aaron Murray, former quarterback for the University of Georgia, all-time SEC passing leader, played some in the NFL, probably should still be in the NFL, in my opinion, Aaron, and you do a great job at CBS Sports Network, but, dude, how come you're not in the league?
I don't know, man. I'm feeling good, though. The body feels good. The head feels good doing this TV gig with you over at CBS and then doing some real estate here in Atlanta. So who knows? I mean, we'll kind of see where things shake up this weekend when certain teams either pick guys up in the draft or right afterwards bring guys in for rookie mini camps, which will be the next 2 weeks. So we'll see, myself, my agent, we'll see if there's an opportunity down the line and maybe jump in there and get involved with the camp and who knows. But I'm trying to stay in shape. I'm trying to stay away from all the ice cream and cookies and goodies and trying to work out and throw and be ready if my name does get called and someone wants me to come out for a workout.
Yeah, and I should mention, you're with Colliers International doing multi-sales investments, so you're on the commercial end of real estate. That's a smart move by you, kind of getting ready for that next stage of your life.
Yeah, you have to. And honestly, I didn't really know much about real estate, especially the commercial side. And for me, it was always thinking about residential and homes, and there's a whole nother ball game. And really, I had a couple buddies that were doing office tenant rep and retail rep, and I decided to check it out and start interviewing one off season and doing some internships, and really enjoyed it and figured, and that's the problem. The NFL is getting better with it, and they're finding ways to get guys more involved in the off season with certain programs to learn about careers afterwards, because it's a short lifespan in the NFL, and guys need to be ready. So I took the necessary steps, whether it was doing some TV and radio to prepare me for CBS, or if it was internship with some real estate companies. So it's been a great transition. There's definitely, when you start anything new, there's going to be ups and downs, but it's been a lot of fun trying to grow both in the TV world and also in the real estate world this past year and a half.
Yeah, one of my former colleagues in the TV world, former NFL coach Jerry Glanville, he was at Atlanta and Houston as a head coach, and many places as an assistant. He had that great, explaining to an official that NFL stood for not for long. And not for long even applies on this first day of the draft. When you look at this crop of quarterbacks, is any of these top 5 guys that is being credited as first round types, any of these guys to you really smack of somebody that could have some long-term chops?
I don't think any of these guys are top 5 pick worthy, in my opinion. I think of guys that go in the top 5. I think of the Andrew Lucks of the world, the Carson Wentz's of the world, guys who are going to be able to come in and compete for a starting job day one or even midway through the season, where I think you look at all these guys and there's a lot to work on, whether it's on the field or off the field. And I don't think they'll be ready to go in there and play day one or play it all next year. I think they all need a year of development before even attempting to sniff the football field. And that's, in my mind, that's not what I think of a top 5 pick, a number 1 pick in the draft. But it does demonstrate to you how quarterback needy this league is. But if I had to pick a guy who I think is capable, has all the things you want from a quarterback, is the Josh Rosen kid out of UCLA. And it's mind-blowing to me that there's so many people that agree that this kid is the most pro-ready. He has the footwork. He has the arm strength. He has the decent mobility, move around, but can make all the throws you want. Everyone agrees with it, yet you don't see one pre-draft saying he's going to go number 1 overall. Baker has some issues. The guy Sam Darnold has some turnover issues. There's just a lot of questions. Josh Allen has accuracy issues. There's a lot of questions. I think with Rosen, there's not a lot of questions. So it kind of, I don't know. It's shocking to me that he's not in that discussion to be the number one quarterback taken in this year's draft.
Along those lines, just can you explain to me, sort of in a diagnosing or translation standpoint, what in the hell is too smart for the NFL to be an NFL quarterback? Because they've referred to Josh Rosen as being too smart to be a quarterback. What is that?
It's, I don't know. I guess he might have been, crossed off too many check boxes, and you have to hit him somewhere, and he's gonna have to learn pretty early on how to relate to guys and how to be a leader. I think the best quarterbacks aren't the ones that can go out there and make all the throws, but obviously, the guy who can't come in the huddle and command presence. Be able to look every guy in the huddle, all 10 guys around him, and everyone feels like this guy has worked his butt off. This guy has our back. We trust this guy. What he says, we'll do. And he's going to have to work to that. I don't know if it's in him to be that type of leader. So it would be interesting. I was kind of talking with some guys. It'd be fun to see if a team like the Patriots, who have a couple first-round picks, trade up, and maybe if he sneaks into the bottom, half of the, near 9 or 10, or even into the teens, if they sneak up and try to put him and match him up with a Tom Brady, because I think this kid has a lot of great stuff when it comes to being a quarterback. I think if he is with someone that demonstrates on what it takes to love the game, to work hard, to command that leadership, I think he could be a stud in 3 or 4 years.
People, when it comes to the NFL, teams and coaches especially, they're usually not lying to you unless their lips are moving. So is it unusual to see the Patriots, and specifically Belichick, making kind of a big deal about Lamar Jackson? Or is that something that you should look at seriously and think that he sees things in him that could be pretty good down the road?
I think he thinks of players that, are just going to help the guys day one, but he looks way beyond. You see this with his drafts every year, where he's, not even his draft picks, but free agents. David Andrews, who I had the ability to play with at Georgia, was a great center at Georgia, coming to the draft. He's undersized. Can he compete? They pick him up, and he's been the starting center for them for 3 years now. He just sees things, qualities in guys, whether it's personality, whether it's work trait, whatever it is. And if they have any kind of ability, he'll take a chance on them. I think it's a character thing. And I agree. I see a lot of talent in Lamar Jackson. Is it going to translate into a great NFL quarterback? I don't know. And as you know, a lot of your success is not only dictated by where you're picked in the draft order, but where you're picked. Most importantly, if you're going to go somewhere that knows how to develop great quarterbacks or great offensive linemen, or are you going to get a chance to even be able to compete, get enough reps to be able to see certain schemes? I think that's a huge thing for these kids. So we'll see if they want to sneak up and get a guy, like I said, Josh Rosen, if he starts to slip. Or even Lamar, if he's somewhere in there in the late teens.
Yeah, I at times, Aaron, doing this TV thing for a while too, can contend I can be accused of being sort of the master of the obvious. But when you look at these teams that habitually draft in the top 10, if I'm a fan of these teams, how much faith should I have that now suddenly that my guys and my organization can sprout the ability to teach a young quarterback and take care of a young quarterback? Because I saw 2 really, really good young quarterbacks come into the league, David Carr and Tim Couch, back in the day. And they got no protection. They were in systems that basically necessitated them to play kind of like from the very beginning, like they were 6-year veterans. And they didn't have offensive lines. They didn't get any, they got beat to death. Well, why should fans think that this won't be a habitually just repeating performance by so many of these teams?
Well, you even look at, I want to throw another name out there, a guy from your old team, the San Francisco, Alex Smith. Mm-hmm. You look at his first 4 years in the league, and he's a young guy. He was drafted at 21 years old, and he had a new offensive coordinator every single season.
Yeah.
How as a young kid are you supposed to develop at all if ownership is continuously bringing new coaches in, bringing new schemes in? you can never feel comfortable with your playbook or what's happening around you. So a lot of it is, and then that's why you see certain organizations continuously in the playoffs and building great talent, is because they have a secure head coach, they have secure front office from the GM to ownership, where guys have been there, they've done it, they work together. There's that community family feel where some organizations it's not like that. I think everyone's a little tense. Everyone's heads on the chopping block every single year, where you don't feel comfortable. You're pushing, you're pressing, you're not doing your best work a little bit. So you look at the Browns every year. It's comical at this point. I love the jersey that has the 20 quarterbacks or 50, whatever, how many quarterbacks they've had in the past 20 years.
Yeah, I think 28 or 29, by the way.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, but it starts from the top and works its way down. And like I said, I talk about the Patriots a lot, but it's an unbelievable organization, and it goes into the real world as well. When you're a part of a company or a firm that has great leadership, it trickles down to everyone that is involved with it.
Can you explain something, for the layman out there, and probably educate me, to be honest with you, when people mention certain terms, you look at them and you become so almost immune to hearing them. And there's a gazillion of them in football. But when they talk about specifically in this draft, Sam Darnold, now his performance in 2016, when he closed the year so well, winning that Rose Bowl, compared to what happened in 2017, and the term you hear is, well, they kind of build a book on him. They knew how to defend him. Can you explain what that really is to the average sport fan? That what is that building a book on a quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, no one's a perfect mold. Whether it's, you learn a guy has trouble with if you're bringing inside pressure. So you're bringing two inside linebackers up the middle. I'm just speaking from a quarterback standpoint. Or if you flush him to the left, he has a tough time rolling out and throwing to his left. So everyone has their tendencies, what they're good on, whether it's throwing quick game or throwing a pretty deep ball or post. So as a defense, you learn, hey, if we put this guy in this situation, if we blitz off the right edge, he tends to get flustered. He tends to lose his balance, and then he becomes inaccurate. And I think you even saw that with a guy like Lamar Jackson 2 years ago, where he turned the tape, and anytime any pressure came, he would lose his balance. He would get squared up to the line of scrimmage, so he's not in a throwing position, and he would take off and run. He didn't trust his ability to maneuver around the pocket, and teams knew that, so they're like, hey, if we want to make him one-dimensional and just run the ball, which actually is very dangerous, but we're going to blitz him, fluster him, and he'll get out of there. He doesn't know how to pick up the blitz. But for him, luckily, you also have to learn what your weaknesses are. And I think Lamar got better at that last year of learning, I need to get better at picking up the blitz. I need to feel more comfortable in the pocket so that these tendencies that I've built on myself, I can correct them and then use that as my advantage when teams want to blitz me. All of a sudden I'm crushing them in the pass game.
Hey, along those lines, Bobby Petrino gets a lot of credit, and rightfully so, that he runs a NFL style offense. You were lucky in that at UGA, you ran an offense that was pretty much a conventional NFL style from a lot of the appearances and personnel. How much of an advantage when you're trying to make that transition to the NFL is having that background?
I think it's huge. One, not just from being under center and play action and doing a 5-step, 7-step drop, but I also think the way plays are called today in college just crushes a kid's chance to have success early on in the NFL. You go from one word means a formation, it means a protection, it means a pass player, it means a run play. That's it. One word. Where you get in the NFL, and I remember my first day in meetings with Alex Smith and Chase Daniel and Matt Nagy and Coach Reed, and they're all talking about plays. And honestly, I thought it was some kind of rookie hazing. I thought they were messing with me. This can't be real. They're speaking Chinese.
Yeah.
And I've come from a pro style offense where we use, plays are 7, 8, 9 words. These plays were 15 to 25 words. I mean, these West Coast offenses, you're calling 2 plays, 3 plays. And there's this check, that check, and it's mind blowing to you what's being said. And it's tough. It's tough to get into a huddle and confidently say a play to your teammates, Because as an offensive lineman, if your quarterback walks in and he's hesitant and he doesn't really feel confident, and even the way he's calling a play, you're walking up to that line of scrimmage saying, I don't know if he knows what he's doing back there. He can't even call the play.
The hell with walking.
Execute it.
The hell with walking in the line of scrimmage. If you're in there with veteran offensive linemen, they're going to look at the sideline and kind of go, next.
Exactly. So I think from just calling a play, these kids are going to have a challenge of going from one word to, having to memorize 15 to 20 words and be able to spit it out with confidence that you know what you're doing to, like you said, these veteran linemen who they don't have time for that.
All right. Hey, to Aaron, thank you so much for joining me. Really appreciate it. Now, if anybody wants to find out about Aaron Murray, the quarterback, you can cut on CBS Sports Network, or you can keep track of the transactions, and you might learn that. But how about Aaron Murray in the real estate magnate?
Yeah, baby.
Where do people find out more about that?
So Colliers International, I work for the Atlanta team, the multifamily sales. So I'm working on, I'm the broker. So I'm the middle guy trying to work with owners on if they're looking to either refinance or sell their property, lining them up with the right people to reach the best price point. So it's been a lot of fun, and I'm excited to continue my growth here as well as the TV.
Fantastic. Aaron, thanks again. Really appreciate it, man.
Thanks, Reddy.
All righty. Bye-bye. All right. Thank you to Aaron Murray for taking the time, talking to us. Interesting stuff. I told you this guy knows his quarterbacks, and he knows this process in the draft. It's crazy. He knows about commercial real estate too now. Check him out. All right. Let's take a little time right now for Unsafe Spaces Sports. I spoke earlier about the draft before I talked to Aaron Murray, and the NFL draft live from Dallas is coming up starting tonight. It will be a spectacle. It'll be flash. It'll be style. It'll be jewelry. There'll be blingage. There'll be everything on display. It's so very Dallas. Check this out. Yes, thank you. It does get crazy. Somewhere along the line here, the whole red carpet came into vogue. You got to have a red carpet, I guess, if you're going to have an event that's a big TV must-see. And NFL's no different than that. You see some suits. You see some style. You see some fashion chances. Won't call them faux pas because I don't know enough about French or fashion to use that term. You will see some blingage, not all just kind of team-related blingage. You'll see, I guarantee you, check it out when it happens. You're going to see watches, for instance, and look at the wrists on the players as they show them on TV. Most of them sort of tilt to the left if they wear their watch on that side because of the diamonds and gold and everything else on these watches. It's pretty crazy. Unnecessary, ostentatious, but this is a special time in their life, so I think you give them a pass. The NBA is getting ready to start their playoffs. and get them really going. I mean, round one's round one. There are a few interesting developments that we have to talk about. One of the interesting developments would be involving LeBron James, the best player in the league, and the Indiana Pacers, because the Cleveland Cavaliers in Indiana are tussling pretty good. Let's put it that way. And things are getting kind of tight. I have said here, let's hurry up and just get it over with. It's going to be Cleveland and Golden State, and it may very well be Cleveland and Golden State. But Cleveland looks extremely human right now, and we'll see how they can hold up. But there has been a development in the NBA playoffs that I think bears watching, and at least bears mentioning by me. Defense. There has been defense played, a little bit by the Golden State Warriors, but specifically the defense being played has been played extremely hard, extremely physically, and I think Russell Westbrook of Oklahoma City might bring this whole defense thing back into vogue. Check out these highlights of Westbrook trying to shut up Ricky Rubio.
As Rubio double teamed and he's knocked to the floor by Westbrook, who proudly raised hit forwards last 5.
In soccer, they call that a flop.
Rubio hits the deck.
And in the NBA, they call that a flop.
His second, he looks immediately over at Billy Crowder's intervention merits something additional.
Well, I thought he was the instigator. He followed up, walked Russell. He just falls. Okay, we know that's what you call a dive in soccer.
I'm going to shut that off next game, though.
I love that. I love that. And Russell Westbrook, well played. You might start a trend. There actually might play a little defense when it comes to the NBA playoffs. And last up on the sports side is Major League Baseball. Baseball is getting into its groove, which is kind of like that drip, drip water torture, that drop on your forehead. That, to me, is what the regular season in Major League Baseball is like. It just drips and drips and drips. But there is one exception. There is one thing that happens in Major League Baseball that to me is the redeeming value. It's why I watch highlights. It's why I watch games. It's not so much just the young, really good players out there, because there are a lot of them now. It's the home runs. I mean, I'm like everybody else, man. I dig the long ball.
In the air left field, that is way back. Clover with his head down.
Way
Home
back.
run.
Swing and a high fly ball deep right field. That ball's way back, and it is a home run. Jose.
Ooh.
Drilled to right field and deep. Going back, Granderson. Track. Wall. See ya.
And the 1-0. Swing and a ball well struck. Deep right field. Castellanos looking up. It is gone.
And there's a shot high and deep and way gone. Home run for C.J. Cron.
Man.
2 count. He is lifted toward left. Duvall on the run. He's not going to get
Freddie
there.
Freeman.
That ball is gone.
What, 9 runs? This ball drilled to deep center field. We might be tied. We are.
Yeah. Remember I said the drip, drip, drip? The drip, drip, drip has got that guy right there. And my guess is where he's sitting laid out in the sun there, he's pretty much going to be home run free too. They're not going to drill any up there and disturb his slumber. But Major League Baseball is back in town. All right, let's move on here in the podcast. Next up, the Wambulance. Yeah, butthurt ahead. Now, this has got nothing to do with sports. I'll warn you up front. This is just something on the news side that happened that I first saw it. I was like, seriously? Is that like, do I live in this country? Bernie Sanders, crazy Bernie, the guy that got screwed out of by the DNC and Hillary in the Democratic side of the presidential elections back in 2016, is trying to make the point, besides free college, besides other free stuff, He wants like a universal income. He wants everybody to have a job. He wants it all paid. Well, I'll let him kind of explain what he wants to do.
Free. 3 months paid family and medical leave. Healthcare is a right of all people, not a privilege.
Well, socialism is here. Independent socialist Bernie Sanders has a new plan to get jobs for everybody. He wants to take your money to pay for guaranteed jobs for everybody in the country. Jobs funded by your federal taxes. The jobs would pay at least $15 an hour with health care benefits.
So why stop at free jobs for everybody, Bernie? Why not free housing, free food, free cars, free soapy massages, and free vacations, too? Joining me now with all those answers, the one and only genius legend comic, Dennis Miller. Hi, Dennis.
Free crap Olympics,
Woo!
my new favorite phrase.
Yeah. They're getting gold medals. They're going to make new medals. They're going to be platinum.
Can you imagine that Bernie Sanders, Kennedy, this will tell you how fractured the country is and how I don't even get how the other side. I mean, I look at Pelosi, and to me, Pelosi should be the third person in the car on a Sonic commercial. I mean, she looks absolutely crazy to me. And yet they believe in her. They believe in Sanders. Sanders offering kids a full-time government job. You think kids would turn their nose up and run, but indeed they voted for him. The last time I saw a bar set this low, I was at a dwarf's wake.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that was my reaction when I first heard Senator Sanders' proposal. You know what no one ever mentions when they propose all this free stuff? What do the tax rates have to be? So we have to, I guess, challenge some European countries, and we got to get in that 75, 80, 85% tax bracket situation for the upper side. And normal people, normal tax brackets are in the 50 and 60%. Wow. The cost is just stunning in that. And no one ever talks about the cost. That's a can you just can't kick down the road. All right, that'll do it for Wambulance. I hope you enjoyed that. Just sort of my 2 cents worth. And time now to move on to the feel-good story of the week. And it's a good one. Yeah, feel good. This is a little different feel good for a very clear reason. And I'll warn you up front. Yeah, nerd alert. You need a nerd alert here. Urkel, you're very well served here, my man. Because there's something happening starting tonight, Thursday, the 26th, and full term tomorrow, the 27th, on Friday. Avengers is coming full circle. Do these things ever really kind of end? I'm not sure. I'm curious who they're going to kill off, because I know this is the biggest bad guy they've had in a Avengers movie. There is money. It's raining. So look at that. Sold out over 1,000 showtimes already. And I can vouch for that because I tried to go see it tonight. No. Unless I want to sit in the first row on the outside. That ain't happening. But check out this trailer. I'm a nerd. Guilty as charged. But I can't wait for this movie.
The entire time I knew him, he only ever had one goal. To wipe out half the universe. If he gets all the Infinity Stones, he can do it with the snap of his fingers. Just like that.
Tell me his name again.
Thanos.
We got one advantage. He's coming to us. We have what Thanos wants, so that's what we'll use.
Let's talk about this plan of yours. I think it's good, except it sucks. So let me do the plan, and that way it might be really good.
Wow.
is near. When I'm done, half of humanity will still exist. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. I hope they remember you.
I'm Peter, by the way.
Doctor Strange.
Oh, you're using your made-up names. Then I am Spider-Man.
Yeah, and that trailer, it sort of reminds you too. Marvel has done something wonderful for the movie business. People sit through credits now. Be honest, when you go see a movie and the credits start, isn't that your signal to get up and walk out? It's the only time any of the people that work on these movies get their credit. That's why they're called credits. Ha! But because of Marvel, that always puts inside the credits a little teaser, a little trailer for the next Marvel movie or two. People sit through there because you know it's a Marvel movie. People like James Cameron, he of the Titanic, etc., has made comments about how Marvel's not good for the movies. I tell you what, anybody that gets butts in the seats, that's good for the movie. Letting Hollywood people talk on to the media, that at times is not great for the movies. But nerd alert, it's out there. Infinity War starts tonight. Go see it. We'll be reviewing this next week. Hey, thanks for joining us here on the podcast, Unsafe Spaces. I'm Randy Cross. I want to remind you where you find this. Go to unsafespacesusa.com, randycross.com. You can find us on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, Facebook, Twitter. We're pretty much everywhere. When you get this podcast, please spread it around. Tell your friends. I'd like to see if we can grow this and keep this thing going. All right? Thank you for watching again, and time for us to say happy trails.
Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. Who cares about the clouds if we're together? Just sing a song and bring the sunny weather.